Right, deep divers. Buckle up. Today we're going deep on something super relevant if you're into international relations.
Especially for those UPSC exams.
Right, exactly. But even if you're not like hardcore prepping for that, this stuff is fascinating for anyone,
Yeah, anyone who wants to get how societies are changing.
especially in this crazy connected world we live in.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting here is this idea.
From the source.
Yeah, how the very idea of being connected has like totally transformed.
Go.
We've gone from thick ties, close-knit communities,
Yeah.
shared values, that kind of thing, to these thin connections that are way more individualistic, less rooted in a specific place or tradition.
Okay, so thick versus thin connections.
Right?
I'm picturing like a cozy hand-knitted sweater
Yeah.
versus like a flimsy fishnet stocking.
Okay, I like that visual.
I kind of get it, but how did we go from one to the other?
Yeah, that's the big question.
I'm like, why should we even care?
Great questions. To really get this shift, we got to start with what society even means here. The source says it's more than just people living in the same place.
Right.
It's about how they interact, their sense of belonging.
Okay.
Traditionally, nation states were like the society,
Yeah.
but now you hear all this talk of like global civil society.
Hold on. Global civil society.
Yeah.
Is that like everyone on Earth in one giant community?
It's a big idea for sure.
That's a huge jump from like my neighborhood.
It is, and it shows how much the scale of our connections has changed.
Okay.
Think about it. The source argues that industrialization was this major turning point. Uprooted folks from those traditional thick communities,
Yeah.
forced them into cities for factory jobs.
Okay.
New class systems popped up. The whole fabric of society got like totally rewoven.
So industrialization brought progress,
For sure.
but also kind of shredded those tight-knit connections.
Yeah, there's that tension.
Was it all bad, though?
That's a good point.
Didn't cities offer new opportunities, too?
Right, like a chance to break free from the old ways.
Yeah.
You're right to point that out. The source acknowledges both sides.
Okay.
The disruptive stuff and the transformative stuff. It wasn't just good versus bad.
Right.
To explain this, the source uses these two German words,
Oh, boy.
Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft.
The famous German sociological duo.
Right.
I'm always down to learn new words.
Of course.
But break those down for us non-German speakers.
Okay, so think of Gemeinschaft, like that warm, fuzzy feeling at a family reunion.
Okay.
Everyone knows each other, shares history, strong bonds.
Yeah.
That's thick connection in a nutshell.
Got it.
Gesellschaft, now that's more like joining a book club.
Okay.
Shared interest, you meet up, but the connections might be more fleeting,
Less roots.
Exactly.
So Gemeinschaft is like your childhood bestie.
Yeah.
And Gesellschaft is more like a networking event.
You got it.
Both have their place, I guess.
For sure.
But the level of connection is totally different.
Absolutely. And this difference is key why.
Yeah.
To understanding how social connections have evolved.
It's over time.
Yeah. It's not that one is better than the other.
Right.
But seeing these different modes of connection helps us analyze how society is changing, which is crucial for those studying international relations.
Now, this next part is where things get really interesting,
Okay.
especially for global affairs.
Right. Let's hear it.
The source talks about the two-thirds society.
Okay.
What's that all about?
So the idea is this transition to a post-industrial society didn't hit everyone equally.
Okay.
We got this contented majority who are thriving in this new world while others are facing exclusion.
Okay.
Like a society where 2/3 are doing well, but 1/3 are struggling.
Wait a minute. Are they saying most people are content?
Seems like a bold claim, right?
Let me double check the source here. Okay. Yeah, it seems like that's what they're saying.
It's in there.
It's a good reminder to always analyze your sources carefully.
Especially for something as important as the UPSC exams.
Absolutely. And what's even more interesting is how the source highlights this shift in how we view social inequality.
Okay.
It's not just about liking money anymore.
Right.
It's about feeling left out,
Yeah.
disconnected from the opportunities that contented majority enjoys.
It's about belonging.
So less about a full wallet
Right.
and more about feeling like you belong.
Yeah, like you're part of something bigger.
That makes it a lot more personal.
It does.
And it makes me wonder, are we all just lonely atoms now,
Woo!
bouncing around in this vast, indifferent universe?
That's deep.
Right.
That's a great question, and one the source wrestles with, too.
Okay.
It paints this kind of bleak picture of post-industrial life.
Oh.
Service jobs that lack that old solidarity.
Yeah.
A rise in individualism that can feel isolating.
Okay, that does sound a bit depressing.
A little bit, yeah.
But wait, the source also talks about the information age, right?
It does?
Don't we have all these new ways of connecting now? Thanks to the internet and social media? We do.
Couldn't those be considered thick ties in their own way?
You've hit on a crucial point.
Okay.
The source acknowledges these new connections.
All right, good.
And raises some really interesting questions.
Like what?
Are these digital connections truly meaningful or just surface level? And how do they fit into this bigger picture of social change?
Right.
And by extension, global affairs.
That's what we're here to find out.
Let's dive in.
So, dear listeners, whether you're a UPSC aspirant or just curious about the world, stay tuned as we dive deeper into the complexities of connection in the digital age.
This is where it gets good.
This is where things get really fascinating. All right, so we've said that how we connect has changed completely.
Yeah, big time.
And now we're in this information age with all its digital stuff.
All the possibilities.
So is the internet the savior of human connection? Or are we just fooling ourselves with all these likes and shares?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
And the source doesn't give us any easy answers.
Okay.
It makes us think critically.
About what?
About the nature of these online connections.
Right.
Are they truly thick?
Okay.
Fostering those deep, meaningful bonds of traditional communities.
I mean, I've definitely found some sense of community online.
Yeah.
Especially around shared interests or hobbies.
For sure.
But then there's also all this social media drama.
Oh, yeah.
And negativity.
It's a double-edged sword.
It can feel like a minefield sometimes.
Exactly. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And the source wants us to look deeper.
Okay.
Think about the different types of online communities.
Like what?
Support groups, fan forums, professional networks.
Right.
Each one offers a different kind of connection.
Okay.
And the thickness can vary a lot.
So it's not enough to just say, oh, the internet connects us.
Nope.
We got to dig deeper.
Ask the right questions.
Like connected hey W.
Exactly.
And for what purpose?
Right.
These seem like pretty important questions for anyone trying to understand the world today.
Couldn't agree more.
Especially for those focusing on international relations.
Absolutely. The source argues these shifts in social connection, they have huge implications for global affairs.
Like what?
Think about how social movements can organize online and mobilize across borders.
Okay.
That's a total game changer for international relations.
It's like the battleground has shifted.
From physical spaces to the digital realm.
Right.
And understanding those dynamics online.
Yeah.
How information spreads, how online identities form.
Look,
that's all crucial for figuring out international relations in the 21st century.
It's like you can't understand global politics without understanding the global social landscape.
Precisely. And it's not just about formal diplomacy anymore.
Okay.
We're talking citizen diplomacy, cultural exchange, even economic interactions, all being reshaped by these digital connections.
So for our UPSC folks, this means paying attention not just to treaties and trade deals, but also to what's happening socially and culturally online.
Exactly. And this is where that information age discussion becomes super relevant.
Okay.
It highlights both the challenges and the opportunities.
Of what?
Of this crazy access to information and interconnectedness.
It's like we have this incredible tool.
Yeah.
But we're still figuring out how to use it, right?
It's powerful.
It can connect us in powerful ways.
That it can also divide us.
Yeah, spread misinformation and even manipulate.
It's a lot to handle.
So it's not all sunshine and roses in the digital world.
No, it's mirror.
It's a complex landscape.
With both huge potential and real dangers.
Right.
Navigating it all requires critical thinking, media literacy, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely. And this brings us back to that global civil society idea.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
If that's really happening.
If it is.
What are our responsibilities in it?
What's our role?
How do we make sure these digital connections are doing good?
Right.
Not making things worse.
Contributing to a more just and equitable world.
Whoa, those are big questions.
They are.
It's like we've gone from worrying about our local community
to
having to think about the whole planet.
The whole web of humanity.
That's pretty daunting.
It can be.
But also exciting.
It is, and it's something we all have to grapple with.
Okay.
The source doesn't have all the answers.
I figured.
But it gives us a way to understand these complex shifts and challenges.
And for our UPSC folks,
yes,
this framework is essential for analyzing international relations.
In a world where the lines between local and global are so blurry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Understanding how societies are changing.
how people are connecting and interacting in this digital age is fundamental to understand the global stage.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's leave our listeners with a question.
Right.
In this information age, are we becoming more connected as human beings? Or are we just becoming more connected to our devices?
That's a good one.
And what does that mean for the future of our world?
That's a question we'll keep exploring in our final segment.
Okay.
But for now, think about your own experiences.
Yeah.
Your own online connections.
Right.
Are they enriching your life?
Okay.
Are they helping you understand the world better?
Yeah.
Or are they making you feel isolated and overwhelmed? The answers might surprise you.
Welcome back, deep divers. We've covered a lot of ground.
From thick to thin connections.
Yeah, industrialization to the information age.
It's clear that how we connect has totally shifted.
Right, and the source really gets into all the complexities.
For sure. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
Inspired by the source, but not directly stated.
Right.
If this global civil society thing is really happening, what are your responsibilities in it?
Wow. That's a powerful question. It's like suddenly we got to care about the whole planet.
Right. It's not just about our little corner of the world anymore.
It's not just my neighborhood or my city or even my country.
It's about all of us together.
We're talking about a shared future for all of humanity.
Exactly. And this is where understanding those societal shifts is so important.
The stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, because navigating this new global landscape requires a whole new way of thinking. We got to move beyond national borders, beyond the old power structures, and start seeing ourselves as part of this huge web of humanity.
So it's not just about passing an exam, right?
Yep.
It's about using this knowledge in the real world.
In our everyday lives.
Yeah, in our choices, in how we treat others.
Both online and offline.
Precisely. And for those prepping for the UPSC, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Right. Understanding these social trends, these shifts in how we connect.
Yeah.
It's essential for anyone dealing with international relations.
Because it's all connected.
It's the human element, the social fabric that makes the world go round.
We started by comparing thick and thin connections.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not so black and white.
Maybe not.
Maybe it's more about recognizing all the different types of connections we have.
Right. The roles they play in our lives.
Yeah, and how they all fit together in this big tapestry of human experience.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it shows that we're not just watching this happen.
Yeah.
We have the power to shape those connections.
Individually and as a group.
Exactly. So whether you're building a community online or getting involved in activism or just reaching out to someone who's feeling lonely, you're shaping this global civil society.
It's a big responsibility.
It is, but it's also an amazing opportunity.
It is. And remember what the source said.
What's that?
Knowledge is most powerful when we understand it and use it.
Absolutely. So take these insights, these questions, and let them guide you as you navigate this crazy world.
And if you found this deep dive helpful, don't forget to subscribe, and share it with your friends.
Let's spread the knowledge.
Let's keep this conversation going.